How did Warkworth defenses slaughter Scottish attackers? Who is the Grey Lady seen sitting in the windows of the Great Keep? The unsolved 800-year-old mystery surrounding the castle's conception. After the wooden structure was replaced, the first stone castle on the site would have consisted of the main gatehouse seen today, along with most of the outer curtain wall. Along this wall were various towers, including Carrickfergus Tower and Grey Mare's Tail Tower. The main structures from this early stone castle still standing. When I say standing, I mean a pile of rocks still present. Include the Great Chamber in the southwest corner. The mound where the cross-shaped Great Keep sits today would most likely have been the location of a wooden keep and other structures. The gatehouse was a formidable defensive piece of architecture. Firstly, attackers would have to cross the moat over a drawbridge. Once at the castle gate, defenders from above would be chucking objects through the machicolations. Machicolations were a design feature where part of the upper defensive would overhang the wall below, often in the form seen here on the gatehouse, but they could also be additional wooden structures poking out from the top of the walls, where the walls could gradually step out towards the top and have slots to drop all manner of nasty things onto the attacking force. In fact, you can see potlogs and double holes all over the towers and walls of Warkworth. These could have been used to build wooden machicolations. In addition, there were arrow slots on the gatehouse. Originally, there would have been more, but they were removed during Victorian restoration. Towards the bottom of the arrow slot, you can see where they slope downwards with an indentation into the stonework. This would have allowed you to shoot arrows down towards someone approaching the castle from lower down on the slope. If you managed to penetrate the gate and the first portcullis, there was a second. People often imagine these two gates being used to trap enemies, but that doesn't seem likely to me. What are you going to do? Trap an entire invading army into a tiny space in the gatehouse, and then slaughter them all? No, it is far more likely in practical use that the enemy would just have to batter them both down. In addition, once through this first portcullis and facing the second, you would have been surrounded by murder holes. This is when having two portcullises really comes in handy, as now they must face the defenders from almost every angle while trying to get through the final gate. These defenses were tested almost exclusively by Scottish invaders, but more about that later in the video. So by the end of the 13th century, the castle would have looked something like this. Note there is no great tower and several buildings missing from the bailey. There was another significant tower along the curtain walls in addition to the two we mentioned. Montagu's Tower, built in the 15th century. As the name suggests, it was added by Montagus. First Marquess of Montagu, also known as John Neville, was a powerful magnate. That's magnate, not a magnet. They didn't have magnets back then. Who was heavily involved in the War of the Roses. During the Middle Ages, guests visiting the castle grounds would walk in the gates into the bailey to see multiple buildings made of timber, much like a marketplace. In case you are wondering what a bailey is, it's not the cream liquor you drink at Christmas, but refers to the large area within a castle's walls. There would have been blacksmiths, stonemasons, gardeners, and stable hands on the grounds. A stable stood along the eastern curtain wall, where castle guests could secure their horses. In the castle's heyday, the stable stood 2 stories high. West of the stables sat a well house, where water was drawn. The Lion Tower was magnificent during the Middle Ages, as it featured a lion sculpture that sat atop the stone entryway as an emblem of the earls. Above the lion were the arms of the Percy and Lucy families. Grand social gatherings and celebrations took place in the Great Hall. Collegiate Church and crypt sat in the central area, but were only partially built. The castle keep would appear large and mighty as it towered over the castle and the surrounding village of Warkworth. Referred to as an architectural masterpiece, the keep was laid out not only for fortification, but also for comfort, and is designed in the shape of a Greek cross. The entrance of the keep was set higher than ground level on the moat. This was so that the staircase could be dismantled in case of an attack. The keep is an odd one, quite unique compared to most other keeps in medieval England, with more style than defensive substance. Overall, its ability to repel attackers would not have been as well thought out as that of the original gatehouse, and the true design of the castle, as a stronghold does lay in its original gatehouse and curtain wall. After all, the best idea to defend the keep was just to demolish the wooden stairs if the enemy were to breach the bailey. Allow me to interrupt for a moment. On this channel, I am dedicated to serving and preserving historical accuracy for generations to enjoy. Medieval history is, well, spotty at best. If you hear anything you believe is inaccurate or think I am missing any important information in this video, please leave a comment. This will help educate myself and my audience. Mid-12th century, shrouded in mystery, its origins veiled in secrecy, while the true architect and date of its construction remain a tantalizing enigma. Legends whisper of Prince Henry of Scotland, later the Earl of Northumberland, who may have raised this formidable stronghold. Was it forged as his regal retreat after he surrendered Newcastle and Bamburgh to the crown, trading them for his earldom? 1157. In 1157, King Henry II, or perhaps the enigmatic Roger Fitz-Richard, mentioned in the charter, laid the foundation stones of Warkworth Castle. The castle's story begins to take shape, and its secrets begin to unravel. 1213. Robert Fitz-Roger, inheritor of this grand edifice, extends a royal invitation to none other than the formidable King John. The castle's walls echo with the presence of royalty, setting the stage for the drama yet to unfold. 1214 to 1268. Through generations, the castle's legacy flows. By 1249, it stands as a noble bastion, awaiting its rightful heir, Robert Fitz-John, who is but a child. Guardians watch over its secrets, and the castle's destiny hangs in the balance until 1268, when Robert Fitz-John finally claims his birthright. 1292. In the midst of a Scottish throne dispute, King Edward I graces the castle with his presence. Also known as Edward Longshanks for his tall and bony build, this is the same king portrayed in Mel Gibson's Braveheart movie, who eventually had William Wallace drawn and quartered. Here, discussions would shape the course of the Anglo-Scottish Wars, a turning point in history. 1310 to 1319. As tensions with Scottish raiders grip northern England, the Crown recognizes the strategic importance of castles. In 1310, the castle's fortunes soar as King Edward invests in its fortifications. By 1319, the site teems with defenders, fortified by the might of the Crown. 1327. In a daring bid, Scottish forces storm the castle's gates, but find themselves vanquished. Warkworth Castle stands resolute, its walls unyielding. 1328. A pact between Henry de Percy, 2nd Baron Percy, and Edward III secures the castle's fate. Despite Parliament's objections, Percy emerges victorious, claiming the castle as his own. 1345. With the passing of John de Clavering, the Percy family assumes control, making Warkworth Castle their sanctuary. Renovations and expansions grace the castle as it transforms into a true home for the Percys. 1377. The 4th Baron Percy ascends to become the 1st Earl of Northumberland, initiating the construction of the magnificent Warkworth Castle Keep. Its imposing presence commands the landscape. 1405 to 1470. The castle's fate oscillates in the tumultuous currents of history as Percy family rebellions ebb and flow, casting it into the hands of kings and lords. Montague Tower rises, a testament to the castle's enduring legacy. 1472. Henry Percy, carrying the torch of his forebears, embarks on the grand endeavor of building a collegiate church. Yet, destiny has other plans, and the church remains a symbol of unfinished dreams. 1550. The castle returns to the crown's embrace in 1537, lingering in neglect by 1550. Its once mighty walls now echo with the ghosts of a bygone era. Visitors into ghost hunting may catch a glimpse of a young lad running about the castle grounds, or the spirit of a woman. People refer to the ghost woman as the Grey Lady, and it's believed she is the spirit of Margaret Percy, who died at Warkworth Castle on the 13th of May 1372. She is usually seen within the windows of the castle towers. 1557. Thomas Percy, granted the earldom, strives to breathe life back into the castle, but in his zeal, he dismantles the very hall that once echoed with the laughter of nobility. 1569. Amidst the tumultuous backdrop of religious turmoil, the castle becomes a battleground. Thomas Percy's Catholic allegiance leads to its capture and pillaging by the crown, stripping it of its treasures. 1605. The castle's decline continues as it falls into the hands of Sir Ralph Grey, its glory a fading memory. 1644. In the dark days of the Scottish invasion in 1644, the castle surrenders, its walls echoing with the clash of swords and the cries of warriors. 1648. As a strategic move to deny the enemy, the government orders the partial demolition of the castle. Its once majestic walls are reduced and its doors seized, marking a somber chapter in its history. 1672. Elizabeth Percy, Countess of Northumberland, orders the removal of precious materials from the castle's keep, diverting them to build Churton Hall. 1752. Warkworth Castle languishes in decay. The southwestern tower crumbles, and the eastern curtain wall falls to ruins. Mid-19th century. As the castle's allure captures the hearts of tourists, the third Duke of Northumberland embarks on a journey to resurrect its faded glory. The fourth Duke follows suit, restoring the keep and unveiling the remnants of the abandoned church, rekindling the castle's legacy. 1922. The 8th Duke of Northumberland recognizes the castle's historical significance and entrusts it to the Office of Works, safeguarding its heritage. Just 10 miles north of Warkworth Castle sits one of England's largest castle complexes, Dunstanburgh Castle, which inspired the likes of Minas Tirith from Lord of the Rings, and has similar stories of death, ghosts, and mysteries. So if you think Warkworth Castle has a fascinating past, then Dunstanburgh will blow your socks off and give you the chills. My video on it here will take you on this exhilarating journey.